haven't studied them really. That's their job to study them. In high school, I followed Billy Owens very closely, and I just think he's a superb talent. He's a good competitor, and I probably know him better. Nakumbo can really rebound. In a couple of years, he'd be a great center. And Kenny Anderson's a great point guard. Larry Johnson's great for the team. It's a hard pick.
Okay, so Dean Smith would take any of them, and I wouldn't disagree with him at all. Les Robinson said take Billy Owens. Okay, we're back at the Coliseum. Jim Selene along with Cedric Maxwell. Let's take a look at that sports number question we had earlier. We've already got a winner, and the question was, can you name the 3 players that have been taken just before the Hornets' first-round draft picks? And it was a 13-year-old from Charlotte, Brandon Hart. He wins the tickets. Tim Perry was taken just before Rex Chapman. Glenn Rice was taken just before J.R. Reed, and Dennis Scott was taken just before Kendall Gill. And you'll win a pair of tickets to anywhere you want to go. If you
Yeah.
Who was drafted in front of you?
Ernie Grunfeld.
Ernie Grunfeld, Tennessee.
Tennessee, yep. Now he played with the Knicks, he played with Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
And Milwaukee wanted to pick me and kind of soured on me.
Yeah, Bernie and Ernie. Bernard King and Ernie Grunfeld went to Tennessee. Bernard's still going big guns, and Ernie is an executive for the Knickerbockers now.
Yeah, that's right. He ended up going to the Knicks and taking the position there, and is doing quite well. Kent
Benson was the first player taken in your draft.
First player taken.
Yeah, okay. Which is interesting because Indiana had like 3 starters go in the top 10, and UNLV can also have that done. Or 3 players taken in the first round. UNLV could have 3 players taken in the top 10. That has never happened, but it most likely will in this draft.
I think it will. I think it will. Ogden has to go.
Oh, yeah, and Anthony and Augman, and this guy we're going to look at right now, and that's Larry Johnson. We know Larry Johnson is going to go early, and if what we've heard the past few weeks is true, he's going to go as early as you can go. Tark was his coach, and his next coach might be Gene Littles with the Charlotte Hornets. 6'5½". They listed him as 6'7" when he played or so, but does 2 inches really matter? And you told me it does, Cedric.
2 inches can mean a great deal right now in the NBA. I think you get the situation, especially when you got to get the size of Johnson. I think that it's just one of those, what position is he going to play? And if you have a guy who's 6'5½" and you have a forward that's only a guard that's 6'5", then what positions are going to be limited there?
But what about Charles Barkley? Is he another Charles Barkley?
I don't think. I look at his explosive ability. I think there's only one Charles Barkley. Right now, I think that he's going to play well. I think he's going to do well in this league, but it's just a question mark. He can be the greatest player right now in this draft, but at the same time, he could be the most disappointing player. But the thing I really love about him is the fact that, different from Owens, is the fact that he's going to give you that rah-rah, and I think that's what the Hornets need.
I think the fans will love him. He plays with his face. He plays with his emotions on his face, and that's something we need in this town.
Yeah.
That's something we need for the Hornets. Some people say he's the next Charles Barkley. We ask him, what does he think?
I like to think that they're pretty accurate. I mean, that's how I try to pattern my game after Charles Barkley. And a little bit James Worthy. It's just that those guys are just 5 or 6 notches over me. I'm like here, and they like here. So a little bit of work. Hopefully I can get there.
So the Hornet front office knows they're getting a fiery player, an aggressive player, a lot of heart, and that can make up for several inches sometimes. So does this make him stand out above the rest?
3 guys?
You bet. I think that you look at the core, the really nucleus core of any of the real good teams, and you see that they have a competitive, will type people that are out there really leading their team. And I think Larry Johnson, he has that quality.
Larry Johnson likes to bang down inside. He likes to be tough. Physically, he likes to go to the basket like Buck Williams, like a Buck Williams type, maybe a little better offensively, but defensively, that type of player will get after it pretty good.
You know, one thing is certain. When this draft, after the first 4 or 5 picks, it drops off, and that's why the Hornets are so glad they had that #1 pick. Let's take a look at some of the players that might go in these 5 through 10 spots. Stacey Augmon has to go in the top 10, I would think, Cedric.
One of the players right now is going to be a surprise. I think that he can just really do it all. If it wasn't a situation right now, that he could probably really go higher in my book.
Okay, and also we're going to see Greg Anthony. Now, this is a guard which didn't get a whole lot of star status because of the people he played with, but you can see he can play the game.
Pure shooter, can put the ball on the floor, rebound, do the things that has to be done.
Now, this is Steve Smith, the most talented number 2 guard in the draft for Michigan State. The first shooting guard to be drafted. I would think Rodney Monroe or Mark Macon would be the next, but this guy's the first to go, and maybe Miami or Dallas would take Steve Smith. Then Doug Smith, the big forward from Missouri. His stock went down last year. He looks like Karl Malone when you see his best highlights.
Yeah, he does. I think he has a situation. He has the kind of body. He can do a lot of things around the basket and get some things done. And
Brian Williams, who transferred from the ACC to Arizona, of course, he's going to go top 10. Good, smart player, a lot of heart, really likes to be in the game and play well. And Mark Macon from Temple, this kid was a great freshman, and his stock kind of dropped every year after that. And then picked up this year again. So I think you look at a situation where anything can happen over a 4-year period. All right, so those are the players that we think will go after the top 4 or 5, and we'll find out as the night proceeds. And we're going to go to commercial right now. We'll be right back. We're not too far away, about 10 minutes away from the Hornets' number 1 draft pick. Stay with us.
Next on the Charlotte Hornets Draft Party, we'll take you live to New York City for the announcement, the number 1 NBA draft pick for 1991.